This is Addie. This is my child.
Who will be interrupting this video on regular intervals. Hi, I'm Jess.
And I'm Jess.
And this is part 2 of our books we read on self-care days because the first video was getting super long. These guys are going to be a touch more, I wouldn't call it serious, massive question mark.
Less fiction.
Yeah. But it's going to be stuff that we read and may not make sense to you, but works for us. And you might want to try because they're fun.
So we'll start with an obvious category, which is self-help and self-care books. So for me, I really enjoyed Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Some people find it a little woo-woo, but I think overall it has a great message and it has really helped me in a lot of ways.
Another book for me is The Big Leap by Hendricks. And a lot of my issues for self-help really are about figuring out what direction I need to take, and so for me, spending time thinking about that is helpful.
So a weird one would be 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Thiel? I don't know.
Sounds French, but nah.
He's the PayPal guy. Anyway, it's really a book about startups, but I think it has a cool message about beginning things and following through.
Next, guides, whether they're field guides, cookbooks, any sort of awesome thing that isn't necessarily in depth in terms of how much you're reading into it, literally, but gives you chunks information. So, believe it or not, I really like rereading Pojar and McKinnon's Plants of the Pacific Northwest. If you're an ecologist, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the red book. I have 2 copies. And it's really thorough, actually, on introductory ethnobotany of the Pacific Northwest. So I'm blanking on like what to eat that's safe because I'm kind of plant aunt, kind of. If I need to review the safety issues, for me, it can be very soothing. It's a memory jog, and it means I get to eat tasty stuff. And you get to not eat dangerous stuff.
Speaking of eating tasty stuff, I really like America's Test Kitchen cookbook, as well as, oh gosh, what's that French lady?
So Dory Greenspan, Julia Child.
Julia Child.
Julia Child! Yay!
Julia Child! You're a child. We love Julia Child.
Nice. And I really like the elBulli cookbook series. I actually own one because I found it for like 20 bucks on Amazon. It's normally $200. Like, the back books
They're not cheap.
No, but elBulli, I have the one that's the first year they started spherification. It's so cool. But sometimes local libraries do have that one. I highly recommend checking it out if you're at all geeky about food. It is just so cool. And of course, I gotta give a shout out to my friend Megan Giller, who wrote Bean to Bar Chocolate. It's a really cool book on the state of modern craft chocolate. It has really cool interviews and also things about design and stuff like that. I learned stuff. I know or have met half the chocolatiers and I learned stuff.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's
good
great.
stuff. Disclaimer, we're brunch buddies when she's in town, so, nee.
Oh, I want brunch.
Ooh, that sounds good. We should do a brunch video.
Oh, we should do a brunch video.
Next time.
Comment below if you're down for a brunch video.
Cause I am. Just saying.
Next section is a particular favorite of mine, actually, which is books that trick you into learning. So they're mostly fiction, some of them are non-fiction, but basically you have something else going on and you happen to be learning in the process. So for something that is non-fiction, you would want The Thing Explainer by XKCD guy.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I forgot his
Munroe?
name.
Randall Munroe?
Randall Munroe. Randall Munroe. He also has that other book, What If? That's a really fun one, where he basically just goes through like all these different like hypothetical scenarios and breaks them down scientifically in hilarious ways. So they're funny, they're informational, you can have a good time. And then moving a little more fictional, you have the Manga guides. It's a series. So far I've read the Manga Guide to Electronics and the Manga Guide to Databases. So there's a little bit of story going on in them, but mostly they're just explaining how to use databases or how electricity works, but in a really fun way that's very digestible. And then delving all the way into fiction land, we have Edward Rutherford.
Incoming baby!
Incoming baby! So Rutherford is a history professor who then decided to write books. And so he basically just goes and does a bunch of research on a city or a country or some location and just goes through like hundreds of years, but from the viewpoint of a character he has created. So I've read his books, Paris and the Princes of Ireland, and Paris was really neat because it's all in one location, but you see the Eiffel Tower being built, you see the revolution, you see all sorts of just different things happening throughout history, and this like lineage of characters that he has created but are interacting with real people. So you do meet Monsieur Eiffel, and yeah,
That is cool.
it's pretty neat. Definitely looking to read more of his books soon, but they are thick and tough to read, but worth it.
Alrighty, and with that, we've covered most of our books that we read during self-care. There's a few we didn't cover, but that is why we love to hear from you in those comments below, because there are always more books to read. And with that, we'll catch you awesome peeps
Next time.